All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another installment of the Subspace Weekly Developer Sync. Today, we are going to get updates from the entire engineering team on what we have been working on last week, what we'll be working on this week. We do have one new team member to introduce. We have Ning Lin from China. He's joining us as a protocol engineer. He'll have a chance to introduce himself briefly once we get to him and the updates. Okay, well, to start out, we will focus on the core protocol. Nizar was not able to attend this morning, although he might be jumping in later, so we'll just pause to give his update.
I'm here.
If not, I'll cover. Oh, you are? Oh, sorry, I didn't see you, Nizar. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Last week was interesting. We've been battling the KZG and ratio coding stuff for a few days. It wasn't me who actually fixed it. It was Daria. So all thanks are to her. And after that, I was also working a little bit on the DSN and farm integration to read the actual pieces from the new version of the plot with sectors and integrating that with the DSN so farmers can sync from other farmers. There seems to be still some minor issue, but I plan to fix it today. And with that, most of the things for the initial testing will be ready, I think. So yeah, that's it on my side. And this week, I think we will start upgrading the consensus v2 to the new scheme.
Awesome. Thank you, Nizar. Okay, moving on. Shamil, you're next.
Last week, I worked on the archival storage and pieces caches for the DSN using Cadelia push model. There are a couple of pending PRs, and I plan to merge them early this week and start testing the DSN with the new consensus for the rest of the week. That's it.
Great, thank you, Shamil. Look forward to hearing more about that in the protocol sync. Up next. Okay. Let's see, I think that's it for core protocol. Let's move to the execution layer. Li Cheng, if you'd like to go first.
Yeah, sure. Last week, the primary focus was to launch XNet 2, which has been deployed after the leftovers in Palette Executor Registry was solved. Now there are two executors producing the bundles collectively on XNet 2. This week, the goal is to focus on Palette domain registry and the co-domainer implementation. Yeah, that's pretty much it on my side.
Awesome. That's great news, Li Cheng. That's a huge milestone. Glad we got that deployed and it's working. Okay. All right. Let's see. Fed, you're up next.
Hey everyone. Last week, the main focus was to include the fee model for the Palette Messenger and to start working on the relayer for the Palette Messenger. The relayer initial portion, the core functionality for the relayer is into the master, into the main today. The things that need to be going are the worker functionality for the relayer to monitor the changes. That's the main focus. And then once that is done, jump into testing the relayer with XNet 2, hopefully. Those are the main focus of this week. That's all.
Great, thanks, Fed. Okay. Next up, Parth. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I've been working on extending the cross-chain communication resources page. I have reviewed many of the generic cross-chain protocols and created a write-up about it. Apart from that, I have created last week a one-pager outlining the major protocols that I reviewed, basically categorize them in terms of their security levels. And today and maybe for a few days for tomorrow, I'm focusing on L2 protocols and Celestia.
Great, thank you, Parth. Yeah, and everyone, actually, Parth, if you don't mind, could you drop a link in the engineering chat for that one-page summary and that slide? I think that would be great for everybody to take a look at that. Parth has done a lot of work on improving, or I guess extending, and making complete the cross-chain communication resources guide that Ved and I started several months ago. So if in your free time, it's a great resource to go through. It kind of is like a cheat sheet on everything. And this one pager, I mean, the one pager and the one slide you can look at in like 10 minutes. Really good overview and good way to conceptualize where we fit in. So everybody, please take a look at that. Provide your feedback.
Yeah, I have sent the link in the Notion. You can and just please, if you have any feedback or if you notice any inaccuracies in any way, just comment on that. I will try to fix it as soon as possible.
Awesome. Yeah, and I will share some resources with you later today, Parth. There's actually quite a bit of stuff I found on Celestia that I can give you.
Okay.
That's buried in different forums. Okay. Awesome. Okay, Ning, if you could just briefly introduce yourself and tell us about what you're going to be doing for onboarding this week.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Ning, and I am going through the onboarding checklist on the Notion. And I just had looking through the Subspace handbook, and probably will set up some meeting with some people, one-to-one meeting with you guys to get familiar with you, what you are going through. And also I will going to read through the internal materials about some technical material to get more familiar with the Subspace. And that's all. That's my plan for this week.
Awesome. Thank you, Ning. Really excited to have you on board.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. Moving on to the product team. Arthur, if you'd like to start.
Hey. So as mentioned, last Monday, we've officially concluded with Trail of Bits. We are still waiting on a response to them for scheduling on our audit resolution. I pinged them at the end of last week, so I will be waiting to see if I get any feedback from them. Also last week, Subsquid on Wednesday had released their archive for Subspace Gemini 2A. If you go there, by the way, their aquarium is what they're calling their public archive, so you can go on there to see what they released so far. Subwallet also just today just released a public test for their new mobile wallet integration. So effectively, you could run an Android or iOS for their mobile app. So please come check it out at the Subwallet download page. Going back to Subsquid, on the Block Explorer side, we've met with our designer last week, and he was able to give us initial Block Explorer designs on Friday. So a few of us have already started looking at it and giving some feedback. So progress there has been going well. Lastly, over the weekend on Friday, we've had some alerting issues on the Subscan side. Upon some further investigation, we see that most of our services are fine, and thank you, Nazar, for also jumping on as well. I have since provided the team on the Subscan team some other alternative endpoints to use as well, but it seems like it might be an alerting issue. I've since disabled over the weekend the alerts, but I will be working with the team to see what's going on their end and see if we can re-enable the alerting in that channel. And I think that's all the high-level pieces on my end.
Awesome. Thank you for the detailed update, Arthur, and for working over the weekend on some of that stuff. Okay. Let's see. Sarah, you're up next.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, so I'm working on Block Explorer. I had some discussions with Jeremy on the architecture of squids, and eventually we decided that we'll have one squid for now that will handle many things. Currently it has only balances, but we will keep adding more stuff like space pledged, blockchain history size, and anything else we will need in the future. There is still some uncertainty on how do we combine the data like blocks, extrinsics, and events with the data from the squid. Hopefully it will be clarified once we have like a approved design. And also I was working on the deployment of the current squid, created a droplet and submitted PR to add the workflow. to build and update Docker images. And after that, I will create a Docker compose, add it to infrastructure repository, and actually deploy everything on the Droplet. And yeah, any new next steps will depend on the design availability. That's all.
Awesome. Thank you, Serge. Great. Really looking forward to seeing how this progresses. I think this Subsquid, or the Squid, I guess, and Block Explorer, it's going to be a big deal. Once we get it working, it's going to be really helpful for the community and for the ecosystem. Thanks for the hard work on that. Okay, we'll change the order up here a little bit to be a little bit more focused on the pairings that we have, I guess, within the team. So I guess, Natasha, if you want to go next, since you're working with Serge on Subsquid, or I mean on the Block Explorer.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. For me, last week, I started working on the Block Explorer UI, firstly working with the general structure of the project and one of the tickets for the blocks display. I'm going to complete that PR today without the initial design because we got it on Friday. So we're going to decide this week which one we're going to use. And this week we'll be assigning the design to the parts that are already deployed. So yeah, for me was working on that, and that PR will be up today.
Great, thank you, Natasha. Okay, let's see. Moving on to the SDK and the CLI. Yvonne, if you'd like to go next, please.
Yeah, sure. So last week I was focused on like merging the initial farmer support to the SDK. Apart from that, I was working on the initial node support. So it's currently in review. Like it will be merged like this week. Also, I already working on the like gluing those together, like both farmer and node, so that we would like, for example, not start like some WebSocket servers, etc., like that kind of things. So yeah, this week I will try to finalize that and maybe start working on like separate methods for like farming for a farmer. Yeah, subscribing to different things. Yeah, that kind of stuff. That's all on my end.
Great, thank you, Yvonne. Who is the reviewer for this PRs right now?
I believe right now Ozgun. Yeah, also Arthur. Yeah, yeah. I believe yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think it'd probably be good to add Jeremy to those as well.
Sure.
Okay, great. All right. Okay, moving on. Oskin, how things come with the CLI?
Hello. Not much progress on CLI since I done some of things last week, and the new things is relying on the SDK. So I'm currently reviewing Ivan's PRs, and we are having actually very productive discussions with him on the design. I believe that's good. Other than that, my most of the progress is on the research side. So you want me to tell them right now, or wait for the research?
Sure. Why don't you go ahead and jump into the R&D update?
All right. Last week I tried to read a bit upon the semi-avid PR, but I believe this is already resolved, so I skipped to reading more general stuff. We just had a small talk with Daria today. She answered my final questions on the relationship with the commitments and the archiving. So all the pieces now fit in place in my mind. And then, as you suggested, Jeremiah, I will proceed into learning algebraic hash functions. Just today, I finished Pedersen commitments and started looking at all 3 papers. Rest of the week, I think my most of time will be spending on them.
Okay, awesome. All right. I think that's it for the product team. So let's move on to R&D. So just a quick overview to get us started. I was working pretty heavily on this for the last few days. I have completed, and this is joint work with Daria, a lot of stuff that she'd done. I just copy and paste in here, but I just shared it here in the chat. We have the first part of the guide to polynomial PORs, or the guide to KZG, erasure coding, and Subspace v2 consensus. It's a big document. There's a lot in here. It's going to take some time to get through, but this is going to be required reading for everybody on the engineering team. All right, it's going to be really important for everyone to understand, at least conceptually, how this stuff works. So it's not a complete black box to you all. So this is the first part. This really just focuses on background material and kind of some intuition or some outlining of how it's going to work with Subspace. The next release, which will probably come out next week, will focus on the specific constructions that we're going to be using for Subspace v2. This is more background information. Please feel free to fix anything you see wrong in here. There's certainly some mistakes. We're going to be revising this throughout the week. We're probably going to be publishing as a blog post in the next few weeks as well, and as part of a multi-series blog post on our consensus v2, just like we did a multi-series blog post as part of the Web3 grant for our consensus v1. Okay. All right. Moving on. Daria, if you'd like to go next.
Yeah, so sorry. So last week I finished the review of some existing constructions already in papers or in practice of KZG commitments that made part of the guide that Jeremiah just described. So I was working some of that stuff, and then I was well, I tried and I did succeed to prove in code that the encoding of erasure coding of commitments is the same as committing to erasure coded data, which took me a couple of days, but I have made a working version of that, which is will have to be improved. Just very straightforward version, but at least we proved it works. And then I was working on to describing for the next part of the KZG guides, the basic constructions and how can we apply them to Subspace.
Great, thank you, Daria. And we'll be discussing that in the research sync here in just a little bit, more detail. Okay. Next, we have Justin. Anything from your side?
Yeah, so last week we wrapped up the Gemini 2 testnet. So I've been going through, we sent out a community survey trying to capture some feedback and just learning more about our farmers. So I've been going through and just trying to summarize some of those results. We'll have that probably through the middle of the week for the rest of the team. Also been completing community manager interviews. I've been completing the technical interview side, so just been helping out Wei with that as well. I will continue that moving forward into this week. We also do have office hours coming up this Wednesday, so I'm going to be preparing for that as well and getting that agenda finalized for the team as well. A couple other minor things on my end. Localization, Vietnamese got up to 100%, so hopefully we'll be orchestrating with an approval ambassador to get that finalized and we can get that imported into the website. And just be updating a few miscellaneous things as far as like Discord bots and working with Ebony to get the immersed process documented for our all hands.
Awesome, thank you, Justin. Yeah, really looking forward to getting the consolidated lessons learned or feedback from the community and the rest of the CMP team, and getting that shared across the org as soon as we can.
Definitely.
Okay. All right, Jeremy, go ahead.
So I'm still been spending the majority of my time digging into the protocol, especially in anticipation of heading to the Hacker House tomorrow. Spending the rest of the week there. Also been, as I'm doing that, working on putting together engineer onboarding resources. So hopefully have something for Ning to use as well today. I did spend some time, as Serge mentioned, kind of going over the Block Explorer project, and in particular the squid, how that data could look or should look. Now that we have designs, I think it'll be much easier to kind of put together requirements. Also gathering our current DevOps processes and needs as we're preparing to hopefully make a hire in that space. And as I mentioned, I'll be spending this week at the Hacker House with Jeremiah. So looking forward to it.
Great, thank you, Jeremy. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow as well. All right. I think that is it. Did I skip anybody? Starting to get to be a big call. No, I think I got everybody. Okay. All right. Anything else we need to discuss before we close out today? No? All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching, all of our loyal Subspacers on YouTube. We will see you again soon on our protocol sync. Thanks everybody. Bye.